Hi, and welcome to Best in Tesla. So, short sellers has been hating on Tesla for years.
The big boys are coming.
Essentially, what you had is you have a bunch of fanboys.
Porsche's coming.
Tesla as egregiously overvalued.
Next year is just a busted growth story because people see that Jaguar, Mercedes, Audi, and Porsche are the next league up.
They have lost over $75 billion shorting the company, but now it seems like the tides are turning on Wall Street, as bears suddenly turns into bulls.
You know, he's been wrong for so long, he just finally had to throw in the towel.
Short sellers are dropping their short position on Tesla, but the casualties have been many. But it feels like the war is now finally over. The short sellers are jumping ship, and Tesla is a clear outlier and winner in the car market. But this is only just the beginning. So let's check it all out and let's dive right in. So short sellers are dropping their short position on Teslas, and bears suddenly change to bulls and raising their price target hundreds of %. The tides are truly turning when even short sellers are starting to get it. For example, long-term Tesla bear Greg Irwin from Root Capital, who has frequently appeared on CNBC through the years speaking negatively about Tesla and has famously said Tesla doesn't have anything Toyota doesn't have. Yes, that Greg Irwin. Well, let's just start by listening to this little clip from him just 2 years ago.
You know, I've seen Tesla as egregiously overvalued for about the last year and a half. And, its valuation, I believe, is driven by hype. Twitter is a hype machine. Musk is very clearly stepping away from Tesla to Twitter. He's got a lot of things to fix over at Twitter, and that is pulling the hype off Tesla. The idea that maybe he's named Tom Zhu as the successor, I don't know when he's going to take the reins, is also a fairly big negative for Tesla. So, you know, he's a very talented executive. Tesla's a very important company. It's transformed transportation for the world. We think people should ask, really, what do we want to pay for this and what's it going to look like in 5 years?
Craig, what do you think fair value is for this company right now?
Shouldn't be worth more than Toyota. So I think something well below 100, my price target's 85.
Your price target is $85, we're at $176 today. How much of that relates to his involvement in SpaceX and Twitter and other things? How much of that is just what you think this business unto itself is worth? If there was no Twitter and no SpaceX, would you say the same thing or no?
I would say the same. I would say exactly the same thing. I think, I've been saying that actually for a while. I'm pretty stubborn. I stick with my thesis for a long time unless I get pushed off it pretty hard. I don't believe Tesla's worth more than a company like Toyota. Sells, almost an order of magnitude more vehicles than they do. There's nothing.
And you don't buy the argument that Tesla ultimately could turn out to be way more than a classic automobile company, insofar as it could turn into a robotaxi business, given the self-driving features that they're creating. It could turn into a solar business. It could. The thesis around the stock price being as high as it is today, Ron Barron's been on our broadcast and others, would be that it really can't be considered an automobile company unto itself.
I think those are false arguments. So the self-driving capability is something that consumes power. If you're going to have level 4 with technology that's on the drawing board today, you're going to consume just as much power for the actual ADAS system itself as you would for the drivetrain. Think about cutting the miles you can drive in half. That's actually also fairly expensive to operate, and the technology is not there. It's not safe enough. They're having serious problems with optical apparitions causing fatal accidents. I don't see robotaxis anytime soon. There's a lot of other things people like to point to, software, etc. I don't think Toyota can't do that. There's no reason Porsche or Daimler or someone else can't do that.
So he didn't think Tesla was anything but a classical car company, and Toyota has just as big as a chance to make full self-driving cars as Tesla had. And he thought all of the things he just talked about in a new interview was false argument. But now they are his arguments, and he is sticking to his theses unless he gets pushed really hard. Well, I guess someone has pushed him extremely hard, because he just raised his price target by a whopping 347%, from $85 to $380. This is just insane. Who does that? Talk about admitting failure. For years, this guy has been calling Tesla egregiously overvalued. But now he has a buy rating on the stock when the stock price hits $350. This makes no sense whatsoever. Now he's suddenly talking about Tesla's robot and their full self-driving opportunity. But this is nothing new, Greg, and you didn't believe in it 2 years ago. And if this is some technology that Tesla has, well, according to you, Greg, Toyota should have the same tech, right? As Tesla doesn't have anything Toyota doesn't have. Greg just sounds like someone grappling to find excuses to why he suddenly changed his price target about $300 and now saying buy Tesla. But when Tesla was valued at like $500 billion lower than it is today, he told investors to sell Tesla stock. And if we look at his tip ranking score, we can see that his success rate is 45%. So you would be better off just flipping a coin than having Greg invest your money. How anyone can trust their money to an analyst that is this bad at his job and suddenly jump 350% in his valuation of a company when nothing fundamental has changed about the company is just insane. He must have changed from like a short seller trying to get the stock to go lower to now being a long-term holder of Tesla stock, or else it just doesn't make sense what he's doing. 2 years ago, full self-driving was nothing he could see happening anytime soon, and now he's talking about cybercabs rolling on the street mid-next year. Sure, Greg, everything about Tesla has suddenly changed over the last 2 years. But we are seeing that short sellers are dropping their short position on Tesla, as Danny Moses, that was short Tesla this summer. In fact, he doubled down on his short position in May when the stock was being around $170. And now that it has reached $350, well, I guess that short position did hurt quite a bit. Actually, he got absolutely obliterated, so much so that he's now no longer shorting Tesla. Wow, things are suddenly changing on Wall Street. And I know the short sellers and former bears are now scrambling to find excuses to why they are no longer bears to now suddenly a bull. Well, even though someone like Moses says that the fundamentals have changed, I strongly disagree. Especially from this summer until now, nothing fundamental has changed about Tesla, other than Tesla finally have shown us the robotaxi, but we knew that was coming, so nothing fundamental about the company has changed over the last 4 months. I'm still sticking to the things we have been talking about for years on this channel, and why I'm bullish on the company for 10 years, and why I invested in Tesla in 2018. Nothing has really changed. Sure, I have also been too optimistic on when certain things would happen, but I have always believed that Tesla would solve full self-driving eventually, and like I said many times before, it doesn't really matter if it was 2022 or 2028, as no one will be able to catch up, as Tesla is the only one that has the data and a scalable and general solution that is also cost effective, and the valuation it will create for Tesla is going to be insane. That has not changed. Nothing we have been talking about for the last 5 years has really changed. The Tesla growth story continue. But about 2 to 3 years ago, sure, we got a new humanoid robot coming into the picture, but that was years ago. But it has taken a long time for the short sellers to get this, and it has been painful for them, and many of them have been very quiet over the past 6 months. Even Gordon Johnson is suddenly very quiet. Haven't heard from him from a long time, which is very unlike Gordon. Normally he's a very loud person, right? And he has had nothing but a sell rating on Tesla through the years, and he thought Tesla would go bankrupt. And sure, Elon has been promising full self-driving every year for the last 7 years. But someone like Gordon has been saying Tesla would have a terrible year every year for the last 7 years as well. And we don't hear much from Mark Spiegel either, that famously didn't just bet against Tesla, but also took a bet against Guiley from the Hyperchange about Tesla's sales of the Model 3. Live on CNBC, Mark said Tesla would never be able to sell more than 12,000 units a month of the Model 3. And today, the Model 3 is selling more than 40,000 units a month.
So, two scenarios. Scenario number one, they need external capital no matter what. So scenario number one is they don't raise it for some reason and they're gone in 6 months. Scenario number two is they raise it, keep the lights on. Next year is just a busted growth story because people see that Jaguar, Mercedes, Audi, and Porsche are the next league up. And Tesla is either Palm to BlackBerry or BlackBerry to iPhone.
But hey, Mark has been so wrong about Tesla, it's hard to even imagine how the hell was he able to be this wrong. As he said, the stock was worth $0, and it has raised about a couple of 1,000% since then, no big deal. And he called the Model Y vaporware, and it became the best-selling car in the world.
This is sort of the vaporware Tesla Model Y that we will probably never see.
He said Jaguar I-Pace would destroy Tesla, and now the Jaguar I-Pace is being killed, and Jaguar is desperately trying to rebrand themselves as they have failed completely. Just look at this chart between Tesla and Jaguar in the US market. Do we even need to say anything? I don't think it can be shown much more clear than this, that Jaguar didn't come with a Tesla killer. But maybe Tesla is one of the reasons why Jaguar is actually being killed in the US and desperately trying to rebrand themselves. Copy nothing. But as James said on X, maybe they should have tried copy someone. Because if we zoom out a bit on this amazing chart James has made, we can kind of get a little overview of the premium car market in the US. And there is kind of an outlier on this chart. I don't know if you can spot it. No, it's not Lucid, that does make a lot of noise and was founded a year before Tesla. Yes, you can't really see that on this chart, as you can hardly see Lucid's market share on this chart. But as you can see, most are falling in market share. A few is growing a tiny little bit. And then we have this red mountain there, just next to the Jaguar disappearing market share. That is Tesla shooting up like a rocket. That is the car company the short sellers like Mark Spiegel and Jim Chanos said would be destroyed by all the other guys on this chart. That has basically not moved or been shrinking instead, so the exact opposite has happened than what they said. And Jim Chanos lost all his money shorting Tesla, so he had to close his hedge fund. Remember when he talked about the competition coming, like Porsche Taycan and the Mark-E and the Audi e-tron.
And now the big boys are coming. And they're coming with sexy-looking cars at the same price point with better features, faster cars, great styling. And so what was unique for Tesla is no longer unique. But the bigger problem is that Porsche's coming.
How expensive?
Hold on, say that again. You think
Porsche's coming.
With their own car.
Porsche's coming with the Mission E. And
so is Jaguar with the I-Pace.
And so is Audi with the e-tron.
Yeah, that was fun times. They never came for Tesla. Tesla is now even as big as car company as Audi. That was supposed to just to be able to kill Tesla with the e-tron and catch up with Tesla in BEV sales. And now Tesla is as big as Audi, including their ICE sales. And Audi is also rebranding themselves in China, as their EVs in China have been a big disaster. And Jim was even talking about how BMW sold as many EVs as Tesla in the US in one quarter in 2018.
In September, we think that BMW which is a little company in Germany, sold just about as many electric cars in the U.S. as Tesla did, about 2,000.
So he thought BMW would beat Tesla in BEV sales in the US, but now Tesla also sells more cars than BMW in the US with their EVs and ICE sales combined. And remember David Einhorn, Mr. Unicorn? Yes, that guy that put a turd on Elon's face, but has lost $8 billion shorting Tesla from 2016 to 2021. Ouch. Yes, we don't hear much anymore from that guy either. And we can of course not forget about the weirdest short seller of them all, Bill Gates, that in 2022 apparently had a short position against Tesla that would need between $1.5 billion to $2 billion to close out. And he is supposed to be a smart guy. Not that smart if he's betting against Tesla. As the short sellers has lost over $75 billion since the company went public in 2010. When will they learn not to bet against this company? And how many hedge funds has to be closed because they bet against Tesla before they get it? Well, maybe this is it. As we're seeing short sellers dropping their short position and bears turning into bulls overnight, it definitely feels like the tide is turning on Wall Street. It has definitely been a painful lesson for the short sellers, but I hope the lesson has been learned. Don't bet against Elon Musk. Because even though we see Tesla rising as an automaker and looking stronger than ever, well, the people that call Tesla just a car company is giving up, as it has become very clear that Tesla is not only an outlier in the car market, but also an outlier in the energy storage business, full self-driving technology, robotics, and AI. The Tesla growth story has only just begun. And thank you for watching. And until next time, take care out there and be nice.